Hello and welcome back to Invincible Asia. I'm George Clark and today I get to check out Jean-Claude Van Damme's Double Impact, released on Blu-ray from Idiot Films. Don't forget folks, before we go any further, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, like the video and all that jibber jabber, and thank you very much for supporting Invincible Asia. So it's been some time since we last saw a JCVD movie released by Idiot Films. I have about maybe six or seven up there in my collection. Not all of them, I'm not a fan of every Jean-Claude movie, but Double Impact is definitely one that I have been waiting to get my hands on. I used to have this on X-Rental on the big VHS many moons ago. I do believe it was one that my video player chewed up and spat out, and I got rid of it. Stupidly I got rid of it. But I have never went out to get it on DVD. I don't know why. It just never came about that I got my hands on a DVD. But I also remember it being a pretty hard film to find, if I'm being honest. Of course, when Idiot Films announced that they were putting it out there, I was quite excited and threw in my pre-order pretty early, along with the likes of this week's releases, Taxi Hunter and The Postman Fights Back. So a bit different from the two Hong Kong releases that accompanied it through my letterbox. But yes, this is one movie I thoroughly enjoy watching. From 1991, starring, of course, Jean-Claude and Jean-Claude. Or should I say Jean-Claude and Van Damme. Philip Chan, the wonderful Philip Chan. Jeffrey Lewis. Bolo Yeung, of course, is in there. But this was a lot of fun. And of course, Jean-Claude went on to play twins in a number of movies. Ringo Lam's Replicant, of course, pops up there, which is another very underrated and amazing movie. But I just love this setup in Hong Kong. And I always loved Mike Leader's, let's say, theories on how a sequel would work. Some of them which I would like to see put into put into action. But this is another gorgeous lenticular cover here. Numbered number 900 of 3000, if you can see that on the back. I don't know how much reflection you're getting there. But number 900 of 3000. Clearly I wasn't that quick in putting my pre-order in, or maybe they just picked these at random. I've yet to get a number one. I'll never get a number one. I just have a feeling I'll never get my hands on a number one of anything. But this is just beautiful and really going to add to the collection there. With you've got Inhale, Double Team, Knockoff, Maximum Risk, and Replicant, and something else. Cyborg, of course. How could I forget? The good friend and late Albert Pune's wonderful Cyborg. So anyway, with this, here we go. With this, you get a numbered slipcase, which I've just divulged, 4 collectible postcards, a fold-out poster, HD transfer in original 1.85.1 aspect ratio, optional English subtitles, English GTS, audio commentary with critics Kim Newman and Sean Hogan, Seeing Double, Vic Armstrong on Double Impact, Double Entendre, Sheldon Littich on Double Impact, that's the director of course, The Making of Double Impact Part 1, The Making of Double Impact Part 2, Deleted and Extended Scenes, Anatomy of a Scene, Behind the Scenes Featurette, B-roll sections, film clips, cast and crew interview clips, and a stills gallery. I mean, there's a ton of stuff here to enjoy. This is going to be fantastic to watch. Region B, released as a Region B only here. I can't remember who it was released it in the States. I can see their label, but I can't remember the name of them. Regardless though, super glad that we finally got it here, because I was going to import that. But it is down here as a limited edition, of course, of 3000. So it's quite a large limited edition, but I have a funny feeling that they'll sell out, of course. This is definitely one of the more highly regarded Van Damme films of his better era. Let me slide this on out here, of course. I know it's just going to get covered in fingerprints, already covered in fingerprints. Inside, we have got the exact same cover, of course. I'm hoping there's a reversible. Let me just pop it out to some degree. Okay, so inside here, you have the disc and the poster here, of course. And I will slide that out because it's not a reversible cover, but we do have shots from the movie on the other side. Here we have the full spread of the artwork, of course. And they've stuck with the classic artwork. Of course, all of Van Damme's releases there are very, very 90s in flavour, naturally. And here we have a shot of the man himself and Bolo, or Yang says. It's just another classic showdown, isn't it, really, when you think back to their early days. Oh, yes. Oh, I'm so glad to see this. I'm really excited, actually, to watch it again. Really excited. What shall I do first? I'll do the poster first because, of course, the collectible cards are in there. Not a double-sided poster. Kind of makes things easier. But I'll be honest, I don't think I'm going to be framing this one. Not a fan of American 90s poster art, but I have just no room, and I have far too many incredible Hong Kong movies and artwork from Kung Fu Bob and Sean Longboard that I want to get on the walls before I put stuff like this up. But it is cool to see, and it's great to have. Don't know about the big, massive, thick white border, but hey. Let me slide out these lobby cards, or postcards, should I say. If I can just crack open that. Oh, fuck it. What a dick. Okay, let's see. We have got some nice shots here. On the back, they all hold the same design, which is this black and white print of Double Impact, which is pretty cool. But that's a nice shot. I do enjoy this. I really enjoy it. It's all coming back to me now, seeing these shots. It's been about 20 years maybe since I last watched this. 20 years, and it's flown by. It absolutely has flown by. But such a great film, and I guess probably something they should have made a sequel to a lot quicker. Although they aren't making a sequel yet that we know of, but I just feel it's a movie that should have followed up with another story a lot sooner. But there we have it. Some gorgeous stuff there. Slide them on in there, and that is that. I don't have, as I say, they don't have the DVD to put this up against, but I am going to go check it out, get through as many of those extras as I possibly can, and come right back and let you know what I think. So, just back after checking out 88 Films Blu-ray release of Jean-Claude Van Damme's Double Impact, and I had an absolute blast watching this again. It has been some time, but to be able to see it in this quality of a print, in that HD quality, was fantastic. I mean, it looked amazing in comparison to how I used to watch it on VHS. Of course, it starts to show the effect of whenever the twins are sharing the screen there, as expected. I mean, given how old the movie is there, but it's still very, very well done. In fact, it kind of worries me for how Twin Dragons is going to look in its restoration when it comes out from 88 Films later this year. But it looked amazing, and I had a lot of fun with it. There's also so much to enjoy in terms of the extra features on here. I mean, a ton of extra features. It didn't really click with me how many were on here whenever I was reading it out to you, but there's a lot. So of course then you've got, first of all, the Vic Armstrong interview, which was fantastic. Vic, of course, long-time stuntman, second unit director, action director, and now director in his own right, of course. Kind of a uncredited director here on Double Impact. Very, very interesting to listen to his interview. Ran for just under 22 minutes in length, but very, very interesting to watch, as was Sheldon Littich's interview, which follows that. It runs for probably about 10 minutes longer, maybe around 32 minutes, just under 32 minutes. And he was the original, well, he's the writer, was the original director. Of course, wrote Bloodsport, which also starred Jean-Claude Van Damme and Bolo Yeung. So it was great to see that kind of bringing all that back and bringing them together again. But very interesting interview. Lots of insights as to how the movie kicked off, first of all with Canon Pictures, and onwards from there. So definitely well worth checking out. Both of those interviews were absolutely fantastic to watch, and very, very fresh, it seems also. What else we got on here? We've got the two making ofs, making of part 1 and the making of part 2. Both run well over 50 minutes in length. I think the first one was just under 53 minutes, with the second one running closer to 59 minutes. Honestly though, this is just 2 hours of interviews with Van Damme, with other cast, producers, the directors, but such an amazing insight to everything that went on the movie. So even the guys that double Jean-Claude Van Damme for each of his characters, Chad and Alex, they're also interviewed throughout that. So there's shots from the set, there's some clips from the movie, but ultimately this is like 2 hours of extra interviews combined into making ofs, which is not really a making of anyway. There's an amazing 54 minutes of extended and deleted scenes on here. They were very cool to watch, I have to say. Now they come very unrestored in 4:3, time coded also, and the sound isn't really fixed on them, but it totally is worth checking out. If you're a fan of this movie or a fan of filmmaking in general, it's pretty cool to see how much extra footage or other scenes that could have been a part of this movie had they really carried it on. And it's a lengthy movie already. I think it's around 110 minutes, so you can understand why a lot of it was cut. Then you have Anatomy of a Scene. You've got director Sheldon Littich breaking down one of his favorite scenes, like the chase scene with Chad and the girl, and he really breaks down for about 8 minutes there. He breaks down the scene, and it's pretty cool to go through, which I quite enjoyed. As a filmmaker, I quite enjoyed it. The original behind the scenes featurette, this was pretty cool actually. This was that typical 90s Hollywood style behind the scenes feature. Runs for about 6 or 7 minutes in length. Again, 4:3, unrestored, but it really makes for a fun watch, and it was pretty cool to see. More so for what it is than the 2 hour making of that they've included there, which is really, as I say, just the interviews on there. On top of that, you have got about 8 minutes of B-roll footage. Again, 4:3, unrestored, but it's pretty cool to see. And there's a lot of kind of behind the scenes moments within that in itself, but a great wee feature to have on there, and also to see what the second unit there from Vic Armstrong was up to while the main shooting was happening there. Then you've also got a bunch of film clips there, which this was very random. The film clips and the cast and crew interview clips, I mean, they were odd. The film clips themselves run for probably just under 5 minutes in length, and it was just honestly 40-50 seconds of certain fight scenes, obviously for promotional purposes. 4:3, unrestored again, as were the random interview clips there, cast and crew interview clips that ran for probably about 6 minutes as well. Cool to see, but just very, very random. And then of course you have a stills gallery there, quite a lengthy stills gallery at about 10 minutes of a slideshow there. And then of course the original trailer, which is a fantastic wee piece to add to that there. So all in all, an incredibly packed disc, an incredibly packed release. Of course joins the likes of Postman Fights Back and Taxi Hunter this week, out from, or probably last week by the time this video was out from Idiot Films. But for me, super glad to finally have this in my collection. Gets a double thumbs up, and yes, looking forward to more Van Damme titles from the Idiot collection. So thank you once again for watching another video here on Invincible Asia. Don't forget you can check out hundreds of others here on the channel. You can also show your continued support by heading over to my new merch store, or by checking out invincibleasia.com, where you can read my full movie reviews, and follow me on Instagram at Invincible Asia. Until next time though, enjoy your Kung Fu, and I will see you soon.